Let me tell you what happened to my timeline this week. I was just sitting there, minding my business, and then BTS FESTA 2026 content started dropping. And suddenly, I don't know how to explain this. Every single platform I opened was on fire. Not regular fire, the specific kind of fire that only happens when Jimin and Jungkook are involved. TikTok, on fire. Twitter, completely unhinged. YouTube comments, people writing paragraphs at 2 in the morning. And every single thread, every single video, every single reaction post kept coming back to the same two names. Jimin, Jungkook, Jikook. And here's the thing, this isn't new. This has been happening for years. But something about FESTA 2026 felt different. Something about the specific moments that dropped this week hit in a way that I haven't seen in a long time. And I need to talk about all of it. Because if you've been sleeping on what's been happening, you have genuinely missed some of the most talked about BTS content of the entire year. So we're going through everything. Every clip, every moment. The Las Vegas thing that happened before FESTA even started. The normal log moments that nobody was ready for. The 13-side film segment that racked up 40 million views in days. All of it, from the beginning. Before we get into FESTA specifically, there's something you need to understand about Jimin and Jungkook in 2026 that changes the context of everything we're about to talk about. These two didn't just go through a regular year together. They went through military service together. Like actually together, buddy system. Same division, same base, 18 months side by side. Two people who've already been practically inseparable since they were teenagers training at BigHit, who've spent over a decade growing up together, performing together, traveling the world together, and then spent a year and a half in the military in the same unit. And when they came out together on June 11th, 2025, in Yongkyon, cameras everywhere, the whole thing being live streamed, they both walked out holding these giant flower bouquets and literally hid behind them. Just standing there, bouquets in front of their faces, clearly trying not to be perceived, and absolutely failing at it because they were both smiling so hard you could see it even behind the flowers. Fans immediately called it. The giggles are back. That specific thing, that specific energy between them, had been something people were waiting to see again for years. And it came back in that exact moment, on that morning in June 2025, before they'd even gotten on a stage together, before Arirang had dropped, before any of 2026 had happened. It was just two people walking out of a military base holding flowers, and the whole internet lost it. So that's the baseline. That's where we're starting. Because everything that happened during FESTA 2026 only makes sense when you understand what the foundation already is. June 4th, BTS family photo drops. Now look, I know that sounds like the most routine thing in the world. It's a photo. BTS does this every year. But here's what you have to understand about the 2026 family photo specifically. This is the first one since 2022 where all 7 members are fully there. No one on military leave. No one technically absent. All 7, fully present for the first time in years. BigHit dropped 13 different photos, one for each year of their career. And ARMY went through every single one with a level of analysis that honestly deserves its own documentary. And across all 13 photos, the thing that kept coming up, the thing that kept showing up in people's posts and comments, was how Jimin and Jungkook moved around each other. Not in a dramatic way, not in a way anyone had to point out, just in the way that two people do when they've been near each other for so long that physical proximity becomes second nature. The way they stood in certain shots, the way they ended up in the same corner of some photos, the way neither of them seemed to be making any particular effort to be near each other, and yet somehow always were. People were losing their minds over it. Gently, softly, in the way that ARMY does when something hits in a quiet, specific way that's hard to explain to someone who isn't in it. And that was just the first day. June 7th, normal log drops. 7 videos, 1 per member, each exactly 6 minutes and 13 seconds long. The 13 is intentional. It's for June 13th, their debut date. And this is where things started getting genuinely insane. Jimin's normal log. If you haven't watched it, go watch it right now and come back. I'll wait. Because what this video is, and I want to be careful about how I say this because I don't want to oversell it before you've seen it, is the most unguarded Jimin has looked on camera in years. It's just him going about his day. folding clothes with this very particular method that clearly comes from years of living out of a suitcase, eating alone, slowly, in this quiet way that somehow tells you more about who he is than any interview, standing in front of a mirror before rehearsal with the kind of focus that makes you realize why he is who he is. It's Jimin when nobody's watching, or at least when he's forgotten the camera is there. And then, in a few seconds of the video, blink and you'll miss it, Jungkook appears in the background, not doing anything dramatic, just passing through, glancing at something, laughing at what sounds like an inside joke. Gone again in seconds. ARMY caught it immediately. Obviously, within hours of the normal log dropping, the threads started appearing. People timestamping the exact second. People slowing down the footage. People losing their minds over the fact that even in a video designed to capture Jimin's individual daily life, Jungkook was just there, in the background, being present in the way that he apparently just is in Jimin's space. And then the exact same thing happened in reverse. Jungkook's normal log shows him working out. Chin-ups, core exercises, the kind of training that explains why every time this guy takes his shirt off on stage, 60,000 people simultaneously forget how to function. Very focused, very in his own zone. And then, from somewhere outside the frame, you hear Jimin's voice. You don't see him. You just hear him saying something. We can't fully make out what. And Jungkook doesn't stop training. He doesn't turn around, but his expression changes. This smile appears that is distinctly different from the focused expression he had 2 seconds ago. Like his whole face just shifted slightly from the inside. That specific clip, those 5 seconds, has been replayed millions of times. People making slow motion versions. People making side-by-side comparisons. People writing entire essays about the specific way a person's face changes when they hear a voice they really like. It's a lot, but also completely understandable if you've watched it. June 8th, the 13-side film. This is the one. This is the content that went from ARMY is excited to the whole internet is talking about this whether they follow BTS or not. The 13-side film is a documentary, nearly 30 minutes, capturing the members' inner world heading into this anniversary. Not performances, not promo content, genuinely candid footage of 7 people reflecting on 13 years. And BigHit released 56 photos and behind-the-scenes moments from it that had never been seen publicly before. In the film itself, there's a segment. I'm going to try to describe it without overcooking it, because the thing that makes it powerful is actually how understated it is. Jimin and Jungkook are sitting side by side, not on stage, not in an official content setting. In a corner of what looks like a rehearsal room, low lighting, clearly after a long session that wiped them both out. They're not having a big emotional conversation. They're not saying much at all. And then Jimin reaches over and just taps Jungkook's shoulder. That's it, a tap. And Jungkook tilts his head toward him for a second or two. And then they both sit straight again, and the moment passes. That clip has been watched over 40 million times across platforms. Not because something huge happened, not because there was any kind of declaration or revelation, because of what that moment actually is. 2 people who have been alongside each other for 13 years, who just spent 18 months of military service in the same unit, who are now sitting in a rehearsal room after a long day in the middle of an anniversary week. And the way they exist in each other's space is exactly the same as it's always been. Completely natural, completely unperformed. The kind of familiarity you only build with someone over a very long time. And people feel that. Non-ARMY people feel that. People who don't even follow BTS closely feel that. Because it's not a shipping thing or a fan thing. It's just 2 human beings who clearly mean a lot to each other, caught on camera in a real moment. And it reads as genuine to anyone who watches it. That's why it hit 40 million views. That's why the comments are full of people who keep writing the same 3 words. I can't breathe. Now I have to talk about Las Vegas. Because this happened before FESTA even officially started. And it absolutely belongs in this video. May 23rd, 2026. Arirang World Tour, Las Vegas. Day 1. BTS is performing Body to Body, one of the most hyped tracks off the Arirang album. The one that turns a stadium into controlled chaos every single time they do it live. And during the intro, in those few seconds before the music actually drops, while everyone is getting into position, Jimin and Jungkook start messing with each other. Jungkook starts imitating Jimin's arm movements, clearly doing a purposely bad version of whatever Jimin was doing. Jimin catches him doing it, and his face does this thing. This expression that is somewhere between, I cannot believe you right now, and trying extremely hard not to laugh. Jungkook, meanwhile, is already laughing. Not a polite laugh. Full, bent over, barely able to stand laughing. And then the music drops and both of them instantly, completely, snap back into professional mode like nothing happened. That transition alone, from absolute chaos to perfectly executed performance in 0 seconds, says everything about who these two are as performers. But also, that 30 seconds of them being idiots together before the show is exactly the kind of thing that makes people fall in love with BTS in the first place. The fan site clip, posted by Jungkook, spread everywhere within hours. YouTube, TikTok, X Instagram. People who don't follow BTS at all were sharing it because it's just genuinely fun to watch two people who clearly love each other's company be completely unhinged together in front of 60,000 people. Jimin and Jungkook messing around during the intro to Body to Body. Errorang Las Vegas Day 1 became one of the most searched phrases across multiple platforms simultaneously. Not a new song, not an album announcement. Two guys goofing off for 30 seconds before a concert. And the internet was absolutely done for. Here's what I want to say about the bigger picture of all of this, because I think it actually matters. The reason Jikook content keeps going viral, not just this week, but consistently, for years, isn't just because there's a very dedicated fandom behind it. It's because the content itself is genuinely compelling to watch regardless of whether you're invested in shipping them or not. There is something about the dynamic between Jimin and Jungkook that reads as real to basically anyone who watches it. The specific way they respond to each other. The way Jungkook's face changes when he hears Jimin's voice off camera. The way Jimin reaches over and taps his shoulder in a rehearsal room like it's the most natural thing in the world. The 30 seconds in Las Vegas where they forget there are 60,000 people watching and just act like two friends messing around. None of that is manufactured. None of that is for content. It's all just them. Two people who've known each other since they were teenagers, who've been through everything together, who went through military service side by side, who are now 13 years into one of the most remarkable careers in music history. And the way they are with each other reflects all of that. That's why people keep watching. That's why 40 million views. That's why the timelines never calm down whenever new Jikook content drops. And here's the thing, we are not done yet. Not even close. Run BTS 2.0 drops June 11th. If you know anything about how Jimin and Jungkook operate in an unscripted variety setting, you already know that video is going to give us more content. It always does. Come Over officially releases June 12th. The song that BTS has been performing live and driving fans crazy with for months, finally available to stream. And the Busan concerts on June 12th and 13th, 2 nights in the city where Jimin grew up, where Jungkook grew up, on the eve of their 13th anniversary. Two people from Busan, standing on a stage in Busan on the night BTS turns 13. If everything we've seen this week already sent the internet into chaos, and it absolutely did, I genuinely don't know what those 2 nights in Busan are going to do. But I know ARMY is going to feel every single second of it. And I know the fan cams are going to find every moment. 13 years. Two people who've been through all of it together. And somehow still the most talked about duo in the fandom every single time they share a camera. Some things don't change. And honestly, I hope they never do. Drop a comment. Which Jikook moment from Festa 2026 has completely destroyed you this week? Because I haven't recovered from the 13 side film, and I don't think I'm going to anytime soon. And if you want to see the Busan concert coverage the second it drops, subscribe, because we're going to be all over it. Bangtan forever. Jikook forever. Purple Heart.